That's right, folks. Our boy DSP did nothing wrong. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video. And of course, what I'm doing is I'm taking a look at our boy DSP's weekly financials, or doing an audit on our boys' tips and super chats. And I'm also going to be looking at what he's pulling in so far for the year and comparing it year over year. And I talked about this that I think this year the DSP is going to see a significant drop in support, especially around the tips and the super chats. And it's several factors that I'm not going to get into this video, but I'm definitely seeing a pattern. So excuse me. So yeah, so definitely. So I'm using our boy PieceofPeace's DSP tip tracker, which is amazing. I'm going to link it in the description. So I'm essentially taking his tip tracker, the information there, and I'm just copying it over to a blank spreadsheet because of course it's just easier for old man Duty to read. So here are the numbers right here. So as you guys know, he streamed for 7 days. He started on 12/29 all the way straight through to 1/4/2023. So if you look here, you can see that his gross tips for the weeks were $1,315. His super chats were $419 for a grand total of $1,733. Now, mind you, it's a little bit on the high side, but of course, if you ever look at the trends for DSP, he does pretty well in the first week. Around the holiday week, he brings in some money, people feel generous, and they drop donos and stuff. Plus, this is for 7 days. So if you average it out for 6 days, it kind of falls in line with what he normally does. Actually a little bit less, actually, if you compare it. So yeah, so our boy Phil is not starving. He has plenty of money this week to go pet supply shopping, grocery shopping, take his wife, my wife, out for dinner, buy some more junk, and then claim the Dutch brothers. The Dutch Oven brothers actually gifted it to him. All the typical things. He can buy himself maybe another vest, just like he bought himself that crappy ass Pokemon vest. Just stuff that Phil doesn't need, and will claim that someone paid money and actually sent it to him. Anyway, so yeah, so Phil is not starving. He should be good for the week and have some money left over. So the next thing I want to look at is how Phil made out for the year. So it's not going to include the stuff from December. It's just going to include everything from 1/1 to 1/4. So as you can see, for gross tips, Phil pulled in $943 so far for this year. And then for gross super chats, he pulled in $231 for a total of $1,173, right? You may look at some of these numbers and say, wow, that looks pretty good, right? But if you compare it to what he did last year, you can see a significant drop. So last year, Phil, right here, you can see from 1/1/2022 all the way through 1/4/2022. So it's the same time period I'm looking at. Phil pulled in $1,120 in tips. And then significant, what was different is the super chats. He pulled in $774 for a grand total of $1,893, right? So if you take those numbers, so if you take the total gross numbers, so let's do the tips. So if you take the tips, so you take 943, you divide that by 1,120. He had a drop of about 16% of income of tips. So year over year, from what he pulled in for the 4 days in 2022 compared to what he pulled in this year, he got about 16% less. And then when you look at the super chats, you take the 231, divide that by 74, and you will see that he actually had a decrease. Actually, hold on a second here. Let me make sure. Yep, he had a decrease of roughly 30% in super chats year over year. So you look at it and you say, well, it's not a huge drop. He might make it up, but I mean, that's pretty significant, especially if you just look at the grand totals and you divide that up, and you take that 1,173 divided by 1893. He essentially made about 30. He made about let's see here. He made about 38% less than he made last year. 38%. Now for Phil, a man who lives tip to tip, he lives tip by tip. He doesn't live paycheck to paycheck or day to day. The man hinges on tip to tip. That kind of drop of 38% of his income is pretty significant, being also that he doesn't have any real other avenues for making that up. I mean, he has his regular memberships, he has his ad revenue, and that stuff, for the most part, is going to decline as well. So, but again, I'm not going to look at them, just going to look at tips and super chats, and you can clearly see that Phil is on the decline. Being too that his next streaming week, when he starts Friday, he sees another significant drop. Like the 2 weeks after the new year, he makes more than average. But then by the second week, you start seeing a deep decline, and then he kind of goes back to his normal figures of just hitting a tier 1 tip goal, and maybe the second one hitting a tier 1 tip goal, and then the occasional tier 2 tip goal. And then the super chats will just decrease; they just tank. That's what you're going to see happening, and I'm curious to see week over week how he compares to what he made last year. And January will be critical because, of course, ad revenue is pretty crappy in January, and people are just getting over the whole holiday season. They don't really have that kind of income to splurge on streamers and stuff like that, or buy new products. And so I expect Phil to see a good dip this month, and then probably going forward. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.